approximately 15 minutes to talk about your specific area and union. And then I'm going to bring you all back to a panel to respond to Q&As. So first, we have Tait from ICG 669, and ICG is the International Cinematographer Guild. Next to, on my screen, next to Tait, we have Shawn Henter. And Shawn is with the Teamsters Union, correct?
That is correct.
Good. I thought I had that right. And then I looked at your face and thought you were going to say, oh no, that's not right. Okay. And next we have Crystal Branwarth. And Crystal is with IATSE, the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. And then we have Andrea Moore with DGC BC, or the Directors Guild of Canada BC Division. I'm going to unmute you there. I'm going to do the individual. Sorry, somebody was just telling you they're 18. Hi, Arnold. So we will, I'm going to put you one at a time back onto mute. We're going to start off with Tait. So just a moment here while I mute. So I think I've just got Tait live right now and Crystal still. Okay, so Tait started with the International Cinematographers Guild 699 in 2014 as an administrative assistant, and currently manages membership services and the camera trainee program. Prior to ICG 669, Tait worked extensively in the nonprofit sector and graduated from UBC with a double major in film studies and psychology and the arts co-op program. Tait coordinates the camera trainee program for ICG 669, which is responsible for intake and training of all camera assistants for union film and television production in Western Canada, and also processes membership applications to the union. So Tait, welcome. Thank you for giving up part of your Sunday. And I am going to take myself away and turn it all over to you for about the next 15 minutes, but I'll be on the sidelines keeping an eye.
So I can just, we're not going into individual, just to confirm, I can start my presentation now?
You start your presentation now. Thank you.
Great. Hi, everybody. We're in a new world, so it's doing career fair digitally. This is the first time, I'm sure, for everybody. So thanks for being here as well and taking time out of your Sunday. Thanks for the intro there. I don't know if I've talked to some of you before, but if I haven't, I am Tait. I definitely work at ICG 669, and 669 more specifically, just to give you guys a bit more in-depth here, we represent the camera department across Western Canada. So that includes BC, all the way to Manitoba and up. So it's not just BC centric, we go all the way to Winnipeg and the Yukon and Northwest Territories. We have over 1,000 members now, which is really exciting, and we have members representing everything from camera assistants, publicity, drones, all the way to director of photography, DIT, and then some. Some of you who have already worked in the film industry may have worked alongside some of our members, more recently on productions like Popstar Academy, which shot on the island, and maybe some of you made the journey over to the mainland here and worked on some of our big shows with our camera crews like Supernatural, Deadpool, or maybe you went to Calgary to film Ghostbusters. So what's really neat about 669 is that it is one department. It's very specialized. We get a lot of questions about like, oh, I want to be in the film industry and I want to be in camera. How do I join a union and work on all these big shows? Well, for those of you interested in starting a career in camera, basically there's two ways in. There's two ways into 669. The first one is to do what I recommend, especially if you're just starting, which is to do the camera trainee program. So if you think about it, there's a lot of internship programs out there and co-ops, for instance. And if you reflect on that, internships are really useful because it allows you to work with people, let's say at a company that you really wanted to work at, but in a safe position. So as an intern, you're shadowing people you want to work with, right? Learning all their skills, habits, professionalism. And then hopefully after your internship is done, you can actually be employed at that company you wanted to do or work for. So that's the same idea with the trainee program. The trainee program is one of the few programs out there across the entire world, actually. We're really, really fortunate. That gives people paid opportunities to work on union shows. So this is your chance to work on those Deadpools, those Supernaturals, those Flashes, you know, all those great productions that have high quality talent and professional people working on that. The trainee program is market driven, so it doesn't open all the time. So that's something that's really important for you guys to know. But just like any internship program, the whole point of the trainee program is for you to work with different crews, kind of by osmosis, get all of their talent and, you know, learn all their tricks of the trade, and then just work on different styles of shows, because as you work in the film industry, you guys will discover there's different types of styles of shows, everything from movies of the week to TV series to big features, and you're going to be surprised at each and every one of them. So once you work through the training program, get your days and meet our requirements, then you can apply to upgrade basically and become a member of our union. And at that point, you've worked with so many people, developed such professionalism, and developed such good habits that it really makes you very marketable within the film industry, because you are still responsible for finding your own work. So this really sets you up for success. If you're interested in applying to the training program, I'll show these links really quickly if I have time, but I can also put it in the chat. I just want to be respectful of everybody else's time, because I know we have only a limited amount. But we have all our requirements on our website. We are looking for a couple of key things, and I'll just rattle them off really quickly for you. You do need to have paid or volunteer experience on set, so we're looking for at least 30 days. Set certificates, those are super easy to get through ACTSAFE or online. We are obviously looking for reference letters and a resume. And then something that might really hit you guys hard, I'm sorry, is a car. You're gonna need a car. Driver's license, I'm sorry. Camera is very specific. You will need that. So if your goal is to be in camera, you will need to get your license. I got mine recently, so I feel your pain, and also acquire a car because you need to get to set. Very, very important. Okay, the second way in, I just want to watch my time here, into 669 is to join directly. So there are many ways to get your experience, but ultimately what 669 represents is the long-form feature film and television industry. So what does that mean? Well, you can get your experience starting off on music videos or short films, but what we're looking for is for you to port that experience on big productions, you know, so you can flow seamlessly in. You don't have to learn those skills on set. So you're gonna have to network your way through those music videos to work on commercials and then independent, you know, feature films or TV series. So you can get that experience in those reference letters to apply to 669. It's not, if you're joining directly, you need to make sure you have a really strong network, because once you join, everybody expects that you're going to be up to that caliber. There's very little margin for error. So that's something to be mindful of if you are going to strike out on your own. We are looking for, again, rattling this off pretty quickly, things like, you know, 100 days on set, paid work. So for those of you interested in applying as like a director of photography, we're looking for at least 100 paid days as a DP on movies of the week, or let's say an independent feature. Plus things like 3 reference letters. One should come from a 669 member. So when you're thinking about that, it's like, I don't even know anybody from 669. Well, that's where you have to start networking. It's a slow process. So if you are going to apply for 669 directly, you have to bear in mind that it is a long game. So you have to plan. It's not going to be like, I'm going to be a DP in 1 year. That's like saying you want to be an executive director in a major industry. You're the head of the department. It's going to take time. So for this reason, don't expect to get into 669 immediately. It will be a process, whether it's a training program or applying directly. A lot of certificates as well, if you need to join 669 directly, can be found through ACTSAFE and also different organizations. The biggest thing I think about getting into this industry is finding out where to start. Don't get discouraged. I'm sure a lot of other panelists here will share the same thoughts. Camera, again, is very, very, very specific. So we have a lot of people with many different stories about how they got into 669 in the first place. One of our very incredible focus pullers, Doug Lavender, worked on films like Interstellar with Christopher Nolan, and he actually was a bus driver before he took the training program, right? We have other people who are like, I knew camera was my thing, So I went to a rental house and worked there, and then got to network, and then, you know, became a camera assistant on shows, and then did the training program. There's many different ways to skin a cat. No pun intended, don't skin me. But it is really up to you to hustle, because nobody's going to find you at the beginning. You are going to have to find people first. And then once you become more established, then people in your reputation, they will precede you. So how am I doing for time? I feel like I've been talking for a while. Got a little bit?
You're fine, Kat, carry on.
Okay, good. So some tips. Before I forget, sorry. Perks of being a union member. Get too excited. So obviously, if you're a union member, you have the benefits of having access to fair wages, right? That's the whole point. We don't want anybody to be not being paid for their technical expertise. So that's public. That's on our website. You also have the benefit of a contract, which is great, because if you're working overtime, you probably want to have, you know, laws and regulations about that too, right? We also have benefits and retirement savings plan, which is great because if you're an independent contractor, you have to think about things like retirement. This is not a 9-to-5 job. So by being part of a union, the more you work on a union show, the more the productions will pay into your retirement savings plan and also your benefits, so that you might need to use that later on in life for physio or whatever. You also have access to our workshops, and coolest of all, you have the ability to work across Canada thanks to our free flow agreement. So 667 is Eastern Canada, 669 is Western Canada. You could do that. So if they're filming, I don't know, X-Men 10 in Toronto, if they want you over there, you can go there. You never know. It's a huge industry. Really quickly, some tips to help you out, especially if you're starting. Again, I'm sure a lot of our panelists will say the same thing. Please be nice to everybody. Major tip number one. This is an industry where we all have to work alongside each other. We see each other longer than we see our family. Maybe that's changed during COVID times. But if you're not nice to each other, nobody wants to work alongside that person. Oftentimes, crews will actually pick the person they get along with more than somebody who's technically brilliant, but they're really, really hard to work with. So be professional and nice to everybody. Second thing, please be on time. If you're on time at 2 o'clock, you're already late. So this is how the film industry works. Be conscious of that and respectful, right? So be there at least 10 to 15 minutes on time. That is on time. 3, please set up your voicemail or answer your messages promptly. Sometimes this industry is based on timeliness. So sometimes it's like, I just need somebody now, and the first person back to respond will get that job. But if you don't have your voicemail set up, or if you're not checking your phone for opportunities, then you might not get it. 4, you need a car. I'm sorry. And 5, realize that this is not a 9-to-5. So you need to know what you're getting yourself into. You're your own independent contractor. You need to hustle. Again, people are not going to find you. And last but not least, please be conscious, because of this, of your physical health and also your mental health. This is very, very important, especially if we go back to set and let's say the hours are go back to being long as they were pre-COVID times. It can take a toll on your health and your physical health too. I'm not trying to scare you guys, but this is a reality of being on set. So again, how do you prepare yourself? Well, get on set in the first place. Try it out. If you like it, awesome. If you tried it and you don't like it, that's okay. At least you tried it. So I really encourage you guys to just get out on set, get a taster of it. If you like it, continue. If you think you like camera because you're on set, you get to watch them. Continue that path. If you don't like it, at least you tried and you know. So hopefully that's about 15 minutes. I feel like
That's
I've been
perfect.
talking for 10 years. But hopefully that helped encapsulate 669 a little bit for you.
Great job, Kat. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to turn this over to Shawn. Welcome, Shawn, and it's all yours.
Thank you, Darlene, and welcome to the rest of the panelists and for all the attendees. I'd like to start with recognizing that I'm coming to you this afternoon from the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. I'll give you a bit of a history of the Teamsters before I get into who I am and what I do. Teamsters was formed in the early 1900s with the amalgamation of two separate unions to become what is currently known as the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. We have 1.4 million members throughout North America and Puerto Rico. About north of 125,000 of those members are in Canada, from sea to sea to sea. Teamsters Local 155 was chartered in 1987. It started in a local that doesn't exist anymore, that was called Local 351, which merged with Local 213, which is our heavy construction local, which I originally started my Teamster career in. Since 1987, Teamsters 155 has become the second largest film and television local within the Teamsters. There are three separate autonomous film, television, and theatrical locals within the IBT. That would be 817 in New York City, 399 in Los Angeles, and 155 in Vancouver, British Columbia. Teamsters 155 sits under the umbrella of the BCCFU, which is the British Columbia Council of Film Unions, and we have the opportunity of working with two other great locals with IATSE and 891 and ICG 669. We have one voice. There's three votes, but one voice as we're working with our employer. Myself, I started my Teamster, journey in the early 90s. I started in heavy construction in 213, and then some of my friends had come to 155 and encouraged me to come over. I came off the floor in 2014 after being a member for years, and I come out of the transport department. I'm a professional truck driver by trade, heavy equipment operator. I will tell you, if it has wheels or tracks, I probably operated it in my life. I'm a prairie kid growing up on a farm. It was kind of what you did growing up. For us, we're different than ICG 669 and IA 891 in that the majority of our crafts, we require some form of licensing and or apprenticeship and a Red Seal program. We have 8 different crafts, and those, our biggest is driving, then security, then our catering. We have animal handlers, we have animal wranglers, we have a marine division, which is the boat operators, safety divers, which we share with 891. We have an automotive division, and we have a miscellaneous division. I will tell you that we started a non-member program many years ago to facilitate the needs for the industry. So for us, it's an application process which is reviewed for the different crafts on our website. Under employment, you'll find application, you'll find the different needs, i.e. certificates, licensing, stuff like that. ActSafe safety body is who we utilize for some of our courses. Some of them are mandatory per the contract, like general safety awareness. And by 2024, anybody working under the council agreement must have that certificate in their pocket. For me, I'm currently elected as the president, and I'm hired as the business agent. I oversee the day-to-day operation of the contract, making sure that both our members and the employer are adhering to what it says in that book. And sometimes there's a grievance process, and that's why the union is here. To touch on why a union, as Kat said, there's overtime provisions, there's retirement benefits, there is health and benefit. We believe that the Teamsters 155 has quite an extensive health and benefit package, in the industry and probably within the province of British Columbia. So it's pretty good. The one thing I'll tell everybody is that any union you join, it's not a right, it's actually a privilege to be a part of that organization. And as Kat expressed, and I'm sure others will express, it's your responsibility to make sure that you're showing up on time. Teamsters 155 developed their own orientation program on top of the one that some of the post-secondary institutes offer, because we felt the importance of really drilling down in the different areas that we deal with, to make sure people understand that as humans we all have a skewed right to entitlement, but in this industry we work very long hours, and the joke is, of course, not in the last 4 months, because we've probably been seeing our loved ones more than we see our coworkers. So for us, historically, we have not dispatched anybody under the age of 21. We look for people that have some form of life experience and job experience. For some of the licensing, there is age restrictions which are put on by the province of British Columbia. For application, we look for a class 3 and 4 with air, with no prohibitions on your NSC abstract. And we take it very seriously. We don't want people showing up that may have had 24-hour driving suspensions or impaired charges, or driving under the influence of drugs and or alcohol, because you are representing this great local union when you were out on the floor. We're different from the other organizations, as we have a hiring hall with referral, which means the head of department, be it the coordinator for the transport department and or his subordinate, the captain, would call our dispatch and ask for people to be referred. As a union, members first. Under the contract, we have a 4% rule for driving and security, which means 96% of the membership in Group 1 would be employed before being able to go to Group 2, and the same for security. As an example, we require 180 dispatch days to count towards your membership, and 3 letters of reference plus a plethora of certificates, be it first aid and transportation of dangerous goods, stuff like that. And again, I refer you to our website, which is teamsters155.org. Under employment, you'll find the requirements there. It is, a great industry to work in, but you have to have a gig mentality, because it really, there is no full-time work, because you go from job to job. And as was proven 4 months ago, the industry shut down overnight. And it's important that, as we like to say, you live below your means and save for the rainy days, and be able to, provide for yourself when you're not working. The unions and guilds in the province of BC did a phenomenal thing, and they started a website called Call Time Mental Health, and I encourage anybody that's on this webinar today to check it out. It was all done with volunteer, people who were on camera, behind the camera, and it's a great resource for people who may want to help somebody and or may need help. And as Kat said, it's important that you're not only taking care of your physical being, but your mental health, because that is really important. So that's kind of it for me. I look forward to the chat. And again, thank you to a big shout out to Victoria, who helped me get on today, because for the first time in 4 months, my computer was like, no, you're not going there. So thank you to Victoria. And Kathleen, thank you for the invite, and appreciate it.
Great, thank you very much, Shawn. And thank you, Victoria, for helping Shawn get going. Now, I would like to again remind you, questions through the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and we will address them as a panel as soon as all of the unions have wrapped up the presentation. So next, I want to introduce you to Crystal Branwarth from IATSE 891. And Crystal is the assistant business rep for Local 891, a senior publicist with the International Camera Guild 669, and a member of the production office in IATSE 891. Crystal has explored a lot of different avenues in her film roles and runs her own production company, Last Train Pictures. Crystal is also an award-winning short filmmaker and has been involved in union and non-union film and television in British Columbia for the last 19 years. She chairs IATSE 891 Women's Committee, chairs ICG 669's Human Rights Committee, and sits on the Women's Rights Committee and Human Rights Committee within the BC Federation of Labor. Good heavens, Crystal, you must be one busy woman. I'm trying to unmute you there. Whoops. There you go. So
Thank you.
welcome. I'm going to shut myself down. The stage is all yours.
Thanks, Darlene. And thank you for having us participate today. It's so good to see your faces, the familiar faces. Glad that Kat went before me, because most everything she said about getting onto an independent set or a union set with the soft skills, it applies to all 19 of our departments. So I'm going to acknowledge, first of all, that I'm coming to you from the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I'll give you a bit of an overview of 891 first, a small bit of history, and then get into our benefits after that, and show you a little bit, show you around our website a little bit. So IATSE 891, we represent over 9,000 professional film artists and technicians working in the film and television industry in BC. We started in 1962 representing theater projectionists and freelance film technicians, and now we house 19 different classifications. And within those classifications, we have 144 positions within those categories, from accounting, art, editing, costumes, hair, makeup, to grips, electrics, vis effects, special effects, and more, which you'll find on our website at IATSE.com. So our approach is to supply studios and producers with world-class talent and act to ensure that we have a stable labor relations climate within our industry, along with the other unions and guilds and stakeholders. And a current example of that is our work at the moment with all of the stakeholders and the Film Commission, working on our safe return to work guidelines, which is really important. And following the provincial health orders and everything that goes along with working in a COVID environment, because we are all about safety, and I think everyone here would agree that that is paramount to getting back to work. So some of the benefits of working with a union. 891 continually offers education opportunities to our members to upgrade their skills. So it's an ongoing sort of process. It's not just, we need these qualifications for you to get in, and that's where it ends. This is an ongoing process. And last year we spent about 1.2 million alone on training and reimbursements for our members. So we're really serious about it. And this, again, is an ongoing thing. And alongside of our education, we offer, as was mentioned by Kat, extended health and dental benefits, RSP plans, family assistance, and other benefits like our scholarship program. And there's a whole list of other opportunities you have via our benefits. Of course, one of the main benefits is bargaining. We represent you at the bargaining table with the producers every 3 years to negotiate safe and fair working conditions on all of our members' behalf. And again, we place a high priority on safety and training for our members. So we are known across the world as having some of the safest and most skilled crew members in the world. So you may wonder why productions come here. So we have stable tax credits, highly skilled, talented crews to pull from. Our geography, BC contains 7 different climates, and it's generally very warm here. The climate's pretty moderate. And our proximity to LA makes us very appealing to producers and cast who don't want to fly across the world. We have Real Green initiatives, which are also very appealing to producers and studios. We, of course, do that because we are a socially conscious industry. And we have diversity and inclusion initiatives as well. And also, right now, our COVID seems to be under control. That is also very appealing at the moment. We've flattened our curve. And everyone, of course, coming into the country to work will be having to abide by the provincial health orders and quarantining 14 days, etc. So I'm going to get into screen sharing a little bit. I'm going to just show you, because some people often say, I don't really know where to find how to apply. What are the qualifications? We get emails all the time. What do I need for this department, this department, this department? Everything is online. And each department, each of our 19 departments have very different requirements. There are 3 things that every department does require, though. Let me just get into my screen share here. That's the one. Okay. So this is our website. You tap in IATSE.com, it'll bring you here. You're going to then go to the membership tab here, applications, permittee applications. So click on that, and you will currently get this kind of red flag message, which is all of our applications right now are closed. They are closed because when COVID hit, we had to reduce our staff and no one was working from the office. So no one was processing applications. We have about 75 to go through at the moment. We are slowly restaffing, so we feel about in a month's time that these applications are going to open up for you guys again. So do check back regularly. Within about 3 to 6 weeks, everything will be up and running again. So you can see here all of the different departments we have. And let's just go to one of the popular departments. Let's go to lighting. So you just click on lighting. So you're going to fill out the application as prompted. For lighting, you'd be a lighting tech lamp op. That would be the entry level position. You'd fill out your personal details, agree to a few conditions, and then you would get into the meat of the application, which is going to ask you for your past experience on productions. And this can be theater experience, this can be commercials, this can be independent films. These are all areas that Kat mentioned that you're going to have experience in before applying. Your related skills, your education, training, and certificates. And this is where you get into the meat of the specifics of each department. Lighting is a little more comprehensive. You have to have the standard certificates you need for every department are the Motion Picture Industry Orientation Certificate, which you can see is offered at CAP University, Langara, Vancouver Film School. If you're here, you've probably heard of this course already. You also need to take your WMIS, which is a 30-minute course online, and it's pretty cheap and cheerful. And now for IATSE 891 members, you do have to take a Safety 101 course that's going to be required for all members by 2022. So we're all in the process of taking this, whether you're permittee or not at the moment, and that's offered at ACTSAFE, which has been mentioned already. Quite a few of our departments actually require the aerial boom scissor lift certificate, as well as the valid fall protection certificate. So if you're going into the grip department, the lighting department, some set deck, special effects, I believe, you're going to want to explore what those certificates entail if those are departments that you're interested in. You'll need to have a resume. And references are always good. But as you can see here, please check the specific classification you're qualified and applying to. You would check lamp op if you're going into the entry level position. But you can see that these are all the different areas you could be getting experience in: theater, dance, music, film, television, video. For myself, I, in film school, did a lot of networking. And we had guest directors come in and give us sample sort of what a day on set would be like. And I ended up volunteering on one of those directors' sets outside of school. And that started counting towards my experience, my days. And be really good to your fellow film students because you never know where those people are going to end up. And you will definitely run into them in the future, for sure. So that's about it. for the application. One thing I really love about these applications is that it tells you exactly what it is you're going to need when you step on set, from footwear to your kit, and anything in between you're going to need for the rain to do your job. So we really try to set the expectations up front, so you can be extremely self-sufficient and proactive, which is an extremely good skill to have if you're going to apply to be in any position in the film industry. So I'm going to just stop my screen share here. And I think that's pretty much all I would say.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Crystal. That was great. And we are going to move along then to Andrea. So welcome, Andrea. And for those of you who don't know Andrea, she is the Directors Guild of Canada BC Director of Operations. Andrea's been with the DGC BC for over 15 years and oversees all staff administrative duties and special projects. She ensures that DGC BC bylaws are followed concerning executive board elections and general membership meeting requirements, and is a primary liaison with the executive board and national and district council staff. Andrea oversees all training programs and initiatives, as well as all membership and upgrade concerns and the permittee logbook holder program. So welcome, Andrea. Thanks for giving up part of your Sunday to share your knowledge and information with our attendees. I'm going to turn things over to you, and just a reminder to our attendees to input any questions into the Q&A in the bottom, and the panel as a group will take a look at them when Andrea's all finished. So you're on your own, Andrea. I'm signing off here.
Thanks, Darlene. Hello, everybody. Happy to be here to talk to you. Happy to see my fellow panelists who I usually see in person. It's been a long time. Also think this is great because they've had the opportunity to speak about a lot of the common aspects of our industry. When I was told it'd be 10 to 15 minutes, I can talk about the DGC for at least a good hour without stopping. So this is a little bit more difficult for me. So I'm really glad that they mentioned call time mental health and real green and some of the soft skills, and this will allow me to talk a little bit more about the DGC. So Directors Guild of Canada is a national organization. Here in BC, we represent BC as well as the Yukon, and we have about 1,400 members in 5 different categories, essentially. We cover the entry-level production assistant, which most of my time I will talk about here today, all the way up to directors, which is a little bit opposite end of the spectrum. I'll talk a little bit about that as well. The categories I probably won't talk too much about is production management, assistant directors, and locations. I do know that Anne Gooby, one of our members in locations, was on earlier today, as was Seamus Shute, one of our assistant directors. Those categories are difficult to work in because they are member-only positions. So that's why I'll kind of concentrate, I think, on our directors and production assistant positions, and I'll be cognizant of the time. I'll also put in the chat and Q&A our website, and I'll do a little screen share like Crystal as well, because it's a great resource for everything. Right now, with COVID, our entry-level permittee logbook holder program is closed, unfortunately. Partially the same reasons. We have limited staff. We actually just brought a couple of staff back in last Monday, but we are still closed to the public. As well, one of the things Shawn mentioned is that, being membership organizations, members come first and members get those opportunities. So on March 13th, we had 46 productions that were up and running, and on March 16th, we had 0. And that's a lot of members who aren't working. So members do come first, and once you get into the organization, you'll appreciate that. So I'm going to do a little screen share here as well. We'll see how well this works. Just essentially to walk you quickly through our website. Everybody can see that there. So we've got along our top bar information about our collective agreement, which is what the producers sign when they come here to use our members. So that's your rights and responsibilities are there. We have 26 different rate sheets, I believe. We have a resource for members with our avails list. We have a copy of our production list, which we update each Friday, which is where both members and non-members find work. Right now, it's a little bit, I'd take it with a grain of salt. Anything you see on there, a lot of them still have temporarily shut down as we transition into productions up and running. I believe right now the DGC has about 10 productions that are up and running. The first one that went was in Kelowna, and it wrapped about 2 weeks ago and was apparently a great success. I have colleagues of mine who are out on set ensuring that our members feel safe and are protected as we go into this new world. I'm going to talk mainly about our entry-level permittee logbook holder program here. You know, a lot of people say, where do I start? Kat was recommending that you get out on set. A lot of things you can do is work as a production assistant. So with our contract, the first 3 production assistants that get hired, as well as the first office production assistant, must be members of the DGC. After that, we encourage them to hire our members first, those who have joined our entry-level permittee logbook holder program second, and then what we call a PA helper third. So a PA helper is anybody who has not joined our program or joined membership and is working as a PA. So as I mentioned, right now we're not taking new permittees. It's something that our executive board will assess as we go back into production land to see where we're going. I mentioned we have 1,400 members, about 500 of them are production assistants right now. We also have an additional 300 people in our entry-level permittee program right now. That said, you can still find work. And what we encourage you to do is to follow along the steps to join the permittee program so that when it does reopen, you're ready to rejoin. We're looking right now at how we can allow those to join when we open to applications again. It probably won't be down in the office. It'll probably be an electronic Zoom, perhaps sharing to get people in when we do it. There's a variety of courses that are required in the program. Just want to quickly show you some of the resources on our website here. You know, a lot of people say, well, I want to work on set and I don't know what I want to do. You start as a PA. We've got a couple of different survival guides here. A helper manual, which isn't quite as aesthetically pleasing as our survival guide, but it has a lot of do's and don'ts, information on gear that you should wear, some of the terminology that you may not know about. There's a location prep guide, information on Act Safe. So a lot of different things there for you to follow through with. With our program itself, when it does reopen, you need the motion picture industry orientation course. You need to have the Act Safe general safety awareness course, the WMIS course, and a valid traffic control certificate. It is done by the BC Safety BC Construction Safety Organization. I'm not sure if they're actually running the courses or not yet. They had put them on hold and extended the deadline for those. They do expire after 3 years. So information there. What you do need as well is 30 days of work. So, you know, where do you start? You go back to our website and you find our production list, and that's how you find work. I mentioned we update it every Friday. Although, you know, we ask you to be cognizant that it may not be 100% accurate. You can see the crew that are working on it. You can click on the title to find a rate sheet. There's information about dates. Some are quite outdated, but all the information's there about what's currently filmed that's signed to our agreement. If it is your goal to work as an assistant director in locations, as a production manager, then this is really where you start, and you start building those networks and those relationships to work your way up. At the DGC as well, we have a lot of information about our health plan. We are a member of CIRUP, which is the Canadian Entertainment Industry Retirement Plan, along with IATSE 891, and it's a cross-country plan that's fantastic for your retirement. So the producers will contribute on your behalf every time you work. A various percentage towards your health plan and to your retirement plan, so that's there for you. You may have 5 different employers, 5 different days of the week, if that's the work you find. So it's really great that the guilds and unions are there to help organize those benefits for you. Where to go now? Maybe I'll switch streams here now and start talking about directors. So you know, joining as a director, we've actually made a lot of changes in the last few years. Right now, you need 75 minutes of commercially exhibited content. We just actually had one of our members who is a production assistant who managed to sell his feature film to Amazon Prime, and it's streaming live there now, and he is now a director member of the DGC. Alternatively, if you are a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or landed immigrant, and one of the productions on our production list that I showed you wants to hire you as a DGC, then we welcome you into membership. If they say you're a director, we're happy to have you. We've actually now also just expanded a little bit into the documentary world. We have a independent documentary initiative that's run through our national office. I mentioned we are a national organization, and we have various categories in the different provinces. For instance, in Alberta, the Directors Guild of Canada covers editors and production coordinators and accountants and the production designers. Whereas here in BC, those are not DGC categories. But one of the benefits of once you get your membership is you can be hired in any category we represent across the country. You know, I say it a little facetiously sometimes, but if you are a production assistant member here in BC, you've gone through our entry program, which means you've taken the courses, you've gotten the amount of days. Once you're in the program, we give you an additional 7 days of training that's mandatory prior to being eligible for membership. But once you come in with your application and we welcome you to the DGC, you can accept any work. You can be hired as a production designer in Alberta, as a production coordinator in Halifax, anywhere as long as the production wants to hire you. Of course, there are tax credit implications across the country, but the mobility is really a fantastic thing. One other quick thing I just want to talk about is with our directors program, we have a very active directors caucus on our board right now, and you can go to directors.ca to find information about Canadian directors. Let me just quickly, there we go. So this is a website where we're highlighting our director members and saying, just watch us. Because as much as, you know, it's Vancouver and BC in general is a fantastic place for film and television. And we're really building up the interior and on the island and getting more studios. You know, not a lot of our directors necessarily get hired. So we've done this promotional campaign where you can search for directors. There's a great sizzle reel here that you can watch, highlighting them. We've done a lot of things during this COVID period that we've made public, both nationally and here locally. Some of these master classes and just watch us chats are really fantastic to meet our members and see what's going on. So definitely a resource for you if you're interested in networking, finding out more about our members as well. You know, a lot of times people ask me to get my foot in the door, where do I start? I say it is networking, as Kat mentioned. You know, if you're not sure what to put on your resume, go back to our website, you can do searches for our members. Let me just quickly go back to the main page. You can do searches as you scroll down, all the different categories, and see what they put on their resumes. You know, we're really trying to build up our website so members can have a profile with their photo, with resumes, etc. So dgcbc.com, dgcbc.ca. You can go to dgc.ca/en/British-Columbia. Lots of ways to find it. I'll put it in the chat as well, because there's really a ton of resources on here about the DGC-BC that I won't go through for now. I'll just stop that share. And I'm not sure if I'm over or not, but maybe I'll just leave it there and wait and see what kind of questions come through.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andrea. Now I'm just going to unmute everybody here and put us all into a gallery view. So hopefully that view has changed for all of our attendees. Now, before we get too far away from you, Andrea, you mentioned one of your members had a production on Prime. Can you tell us what the name of that is so that we can all check it out?
Sure, I haven't actually seen it, but it's Bryce McLaughlin is the director member, and it's called Genesis Code.
Genesis Code by Bryce McLaughlin.
Yeah, and just on that, we actually had another local industry member who did his own film. His name is Dan Rizzuto. I believe he's in stunts. And he also got his film, which I don't remember the name of, up on Amazon Prime, and we welcomed him into membership as well.
Great, that's exciting. Okay, we do have a few questions here. Not that many, but I think that's a testament to the quality of your presentations. I think you had great information, so we don't have that many questions here, but let's start for one for Crystal from Carlos. I'm a sculptor. Is there a training program for props fabrication, set building, or set decks similar to the training program in ICG?
Hi, Carlos. So there isn't, but we do actually have sculptors in our union. So they're kind of buried in the construction department. So if you are a sculptor of various materials here, if I look at the sculpting application. If you have clay modeling, mold making, carving skills, casting from molds, fiberglassing, sketching, drawing, working with materials, plaster, expanded polystyrene foams, the list goes on. So you might already qualify in that sort of regard. But yes, so the other department, what you're asking about set, sorry, I just was trying to find that question again. Basically anything else you would learn about sculpting in various aspects, you would get that experience on the job. So because you have the sculpting skill already, whatever you didn't know, you would be learning on the job. There is no set sculpting course. Set Deck, however, has a wonderful course called Set Deck 101 and a couple of other courses that they offer. I believe they offer those to the permittees and full members. Very comprehensive course from prep, shoot, and wrap. A set deck has a very sort of very specific, as all the departments do, prep, shoot, wrap. Theirs is a little more laborious in wrap, I would say, because everything's inventoried, stored, sent back, or sent back to the studio, that sort of thing. So I hope that answers your question.
Great, thank you, Crystal. And Crystal, but we're not going to give you a moment's peace, Crystal, because the next one's going to be for you as well. From Shannon, who wants to know, for applying to the costume department, will you automatically be denied if you don't have 5 things to put in work experience? I've previously worked assisting a costume designer at a ballet company. I wasn't working on specific productions, but was helping off and on for years. Can I only list that as 1 point of experience?
Well, I'm not really sure. I don't remember if I pull up the costume department application. I don't remember seeing 5 different things to put in the work experience. What I see here is a year of employment in the costume department of a professional theater, film, or television production company, 2 years full-time or equivalent post-secondary education in theater arts, film school, textile arts, or fashion arts. So you might want to just go into that section of the website, applications, click permittee, click costumes, and you'll see that I don't think you need to have the 5 different things, but you do need to have a year's consistent of work in the fields, and you have to be able to prove that as well. So you're going to have to show either pay stubs, sorry, you're hearing my 3-year-old upstairs, etc. And that's where the references would also probably come in very handy for you as well. So hopefully that answers.
Thanks, Crystal. Andrea, we've got a couple here from Arnold, a local favorite, a good friend of mine. Hi, Arnold. And you mentioned you are closed in the permitting program with DGC. Does that mean you're not currently accepting new directors into the program? And how many directors are there in Canada?
Sure. So our permittee logbook holder program is what's currently closed. Membership in the DGC nationally actually just reopened last Monday on July 6th. So we are taking applications. I mentioned the criteria for director. To join as a production assistant, you do have to go through the permittee program. Because we have 300 people there that are waiting for some courses that we're desperately trying to make into online modules as we go through this time, that's why our entry-level program is closed right now. So we still have membership open, and we do take members in those other categories I had mentioned, the locations, so location manager, assistant location manager, location scout, assistant directors, as well as production managers. It's just really difficult to find that work, especially right now with no permits given because members are coming first. In terms of numbers of directors, here in BC, we have 184 director members. But given the mobility, they work all over the world. One of our advisory members, Jem Gerard, was just working in South Africa on Vagrant Queen. They work down in LA, they work in Toronto. Once they kind of get their reputation, they can go. And then across the country, there's anywhere from 400 to 500 director members. But again, that is definitely growing with our new documentary initiative as well.
Great. Thank you, Andrea. And something that any member on the panel can perhaps pipe in with from Andrew. Given the COVID-19 case rates in the US, have the unions seen a noticeable increase in American productions looking to hire or move their productions to Canada? Is there potential for a hiring boom in BC as we cautiously navigate forward? So how are you seeing the impact in your individual unions?
I can go for that if you want. So I don't work in our labor department, but I do know that we anticipate it being busy. I was talking to actually a BC-born assistant director who has dual citizenship and is in New Mexico filming. And he mentioned a couple of big time names that will be coming here soon because of the fact that our numbers are low. That said, we do still have the 14-day quarantine that we're abiding by. I had an executive board conference call on Friday with some of our members, and I think that although there are various TV movies and TV series up and running right now, I think that some of the logistics of the bigger budget shows are proving to be a little bit more difficult. There's also some concerns with permitting. I've heard of a couple of cities that it takes a little bit longer to get things done, a little bit more people, a little bit longer. So we're hopeful that given our reputation here in British Columbia with our talented crews and our fantastic city liaisons and infrastructure that we have here, that we'll be able to manage safely to have a lot of production back. So fingers are crossed, we'll get people working sooner rather than later and safely.
Okay, great. Thanks, Andrea. Now, something else that Arnold is wanting to know, during post-COVID-19 times, do you think there will still be a need for BTS or stills photography, EPK, considering there's a move to tighter, smaller crews? Do you think that might be an area that'll be impacted?
Maybe I can jump in, since those two categories, for those of you who don't know, are represented by 669, EPK, which stands for Electronic Press Kit, behind the scenes, essentially.
Yeah.
And stills. That's a great question. We still will see a need for that. There's a movie of the week that I know that's shooting right now, was one of our first productions out of the gate, actually, that has hired a still photographer. And I'm sure there is still need for EPK as well. What it looks like on set and how that's executed, that's going to vary from production to production. Obviously, we need to follow the safety protocols, but I think how it's done on set is going to look very different, and perhaps how they strategize in bringing people on set is also going to look very different. So they really, as Andrew's saying, things are going to move slower. Really need to plan ahead. Like, I cannot emphasize this enough. The amount of organization that was needed before now has to be turned up to 10,000 or over 10,000 because we need to move very cautiously. So I still think that, long story short, Arnold, I still think there will be a need for that. But just be prepared for it not being the same as it was before.
It's hard to imagine a production going without that, because from that, they build a lot of their marketing and social media programs. And without that work having been done, it's difficult to see how they'll be able to ramp up a powerful presence online and with marketing. So glad to hear we're still going to be seeing that. Now, okay, Arnold's asking more questions. If I join the DGC and am I still allowed to make my own short or micro budget films or work on other small films with micro budget programs?
Definitely.
Anybody? Okay,
yeah.
Great.
I think that, we support our members in their passion projects. We do have a form on our website for members, which is a dispensation form. So basically, you kind of have to ask permission to work on something. If it is a micro budget, a student film, a volunteer, we definitely support that. If it is something that has a pretty healthy budget, you filling in that form will allow us to contact the producer and try and sign that project to protect you, to guarantee you rates of pay and your working conditions. And, you know, perhaps you're able to work in a higher category and those days will count for upgrades. So we definitely support our members.
Great, good to hear. And another question, can you be a member of more than one union? For example, join DGC as a PA and later join IATSE, you know, a different department or position. Does that work? Does anybody have any issues with multiple union memberships? All good. Everybody's happy with that.
In the province of BC, you have that ability. There are some provinces in Canada where you are only allowed to have a sole union card.
Interesting. Okay, but here in BC, we're good. Okay. Andrea, is there a director's course offered by DGC?
So we don't offer courses because the people who join the DGC are already director members. So we encourage you to look into post-secondary film here in British Columbia to try and get that. We offer a lot of skills development, a lot of guest speakers. We had Judith Weston, who has a couple of books directing actors. We're putting on a lot of Zoom meetings with our director members right now to help them sell themselves and be a little bit less Canadian, perhaps, to try and get those opportunities that are coming. You know, we have reimbursement for education that you take on your own. We help support that as well. And I think that, you know, interesting asking about the different unions. I mean, I know that one of my past board members, I think is a member of at least 3, if not all 4 of the unions that are here today. And, you know, oftentimes one of the directors of photography at 669 may get an opportunity to direct an episode of, say, Legends. I guess that's not running anymore. I'm not sure. Or The Flash, you know, and then that makes them eligible for membership as well. So, you know, we don't have a specific directing course, but we offer lots of opportunities for our members.
Great, wonderful. Okay, well, I think we've come to the end of our question period. Is there anything else anybody wanted to add? I mean, I know that I think for the most part, this coming week is a big week. I think there's a lot of productions cautiously starting out again. And I think everybody's waiting with bated breath and hoping that all goes smoothly, everybody stays safe. Do you want to add a final commentary into what you're kind of looking at over the next short while? Or not, is okay.
Hopefully a safe work environment and, you know, a cautious restart. I think we have a lot of good things going for us here, and fingers are crossed. I know that, you know, those who work in the film industry here are problem solvers. And, you know, our members, we had a DGC task force looking at return to work. There's a coalition that is made up of working members across all unions, preparing documents on how to be safe to return. There's, you know, government involvement. For us also nationally, we had national calls weekly, which we don't normally do. So I think that I'm cautiously optimistic that it's not going to be the same, but it's going to be great.
Great. Okay. Well, from the Film Commission, we wish you and your membership all the best and stay safe moving forward. And we want to thank you again for giving up part of your Sunday. And I don't know, Shawn, looking out your window, it looks like you're missing a pretty sunny day out there. So we're going to let you all go. And again, we thank you very much for educating our attendees, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Safe filming, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, so we have come to the end of the formal part of the Real Career Fair. Sorry, I'm trying to do 4 things at once here. And I'm going to bring Kathleen back with us, who has been standing in the wings here. There she is. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi.
Okay.
Wow, that was pretty amazing. It was a great
Was.
piece. Boy, some amazing information.
And I thought it was a brilliant way as well of conveying all this information, because oftentimes, I mean, much as we all love the in-person career fair, for our panelists to be able to give one presentation and capture everybody and deal with all the Q&As at one time, I think it was probably more efficient in many ways, even though the physical, you know, being in the room, there's an energy and stuff I think we all miss, but I thought this went really well.
Yeah, so did I, and thank you once again. I know you're going to, before we start to lose people, I plug for the Royal Roads film orientation course, which is a required course for all the unions, coming up in a couple of weeks from Royal Roads. You can find that information on our Facebook page or on Royal Roads website as well. And again, please come join us at the Film Commission, $30 a year, which is an amazing deal. So going to let you finish off, Darlene, and again, thanks everyone for participating and our amazing panelists over the 2 days, and thanks Creative BC for supporting this project, and Darlene, again, thank you so much.
Thank you. And just before we sign off, I want to thank our panelists, many of whom referenced getting a start building skills in the independent film industry. So over here on Vancouver Island, Southern Vancouver Island, we have Cinevic, which is cinevic.ca. You can either join there or you can follow on Facebook. There are amazing workshops and fellow filmmakers, and it's a brilliant place to start volunteering, start building up some credits, and most importantly, learning skills that you can then take into the bigger productions down the road. So it's a great place to come and see how it all fits together. So I'd encourage you to do that. And I guess with that, Kathleen, we got nothing left to do except say goodbye.
At least 50 people stayed till the very, very end. So that's wonderful. We had a really good turnout. I was really happy with it.
Yes, very excellent. Okay. Thank you to all. Go enjoy the sunshine.